Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the stuff that I learned at the PhD Summit and what really stood out to me. So we'll get to that in just a second.
With every start, we are born again. Open your heart, spend this time in your head.
Hey guys, I had a ton of fun over at the PhD Summit. I took some video traveling, getting ready for that. I'll move so I can put that up over here so you can actually see it. Tons of fun being there, getting to meet new people. I didn't take hardly any pictures. I did get poisoned a little bit the first day when we ate. I provided my own butter, but they put some kind of seasoning on it. So my brain was not super fantastic. And sometimes I just want to go and I want to enjoy the experience and not necessarily document the whole thing. I did post a little bit while I was there. I'm in other people's posts. So hopefully there was enough out there for you guys to see. If it's not roosters, it's ducks. I didn't hear anything. Let me fix you here. Let me fix you. Okay, hopefully I showed you everything. So I didn't really learn anything new per se, but everything that I heard reinforced or reiterated what I have been saying. And I was talking with several people there. They were shocked that I was there. I was like, why are you surprised that I'm here? And they were like, oh, well, because you do Dr. Boz. I'm confused. Do we only have to pick one? I don't think we only have to pick one. So I will talk about the PhD Summit, but I've been taking some notes, honestly, for weeks about a video that I wanted to make on this topic, actually. Let me pull up my notes. Hang on a second. I have this note in my phone entitled The Formula for Success. And I've heard a lot of little things here and there recently that it's like these little nuggets that should be on a t-shirt. Kim had a whole bunch of those, Kim Howerton, over at the PhD Summit. Everything that came out of that woman's mouth was like gold. Here's the way that this works. This is how I can go to the PhD Summit with Dr. Barry and still do Dr. Boz. It's a formula for success. Every person has to have their own formula. You're going to have all of these different items. And when I interviewed Becky Niles, she brought up pillars of health. My husband and I literally for 2 years now have been working on a program that focuses on pillars of health. Because just like Becky says, these pillars have to hold you up. And if you're only focusing on one pillar, it's going to tilt you sideways and you're going to be off balance and you're not going to achieve the whole body balance that we're looking for in our healing journey. So many people focus on just the food. And for a lot of people, that is the foundation. That is where we need to start. But then when you begin tweaking and focusing on that, we don't know, we're all happy. Then this pillar starts getting higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and it's tipping everything else out of kilter. So we need to find our formula, our balance for success. So the thing is, I can't give you your formula. Absolutely nobody on the face of this planet can give you your formula. You have to find your formula for yourself. Everybody that is on YouTube, anybody who has their own channel and they are telling you what's working for them. They're giving you an ingredient. So they are giving you an ingredient. And the thing about your own personal formula is sometimes you need all of the ingredients. Sometimes you just need a few of the ingredients. Sometimes you need more of one ingredient and less of another. There's not a human on this planet that can give you your formula for success. Sometimes they get lucky. I'll give them that. Kim said that. Like, sometimes it works. Sometimes you do just this and it totally works. But I think more times than not, that's not the way that it goes. So everyone is kind of giving you an ingredient. It's not the formula. So the ingredients for some people might be different than the ingredients for other people. But in some cases, the ingredients aren't going to change, but the application will. How much of this ingredient? I mean, are you doing just like a pinch of this one thing? Whereas this other person is doing a pound of this. Because their formula needs to be different. And with that, keep in mind, do not give the power to make decisions away to someone who doesn't even know you. I don't know you. You could be one of my very best friends, and I still don't know you the way you know you. Do not give the power that you have over your own life to make your own decisions away to me, a person on the internet who does not know anything. Do not give the power away to someone just because they have letters after their name. And I will address that in just a little bit because I've made some comments before about specifically Dr. Boz, and I want to reiterate and address those again. Another way that you might need to look at this is that sometimes it's more than the formula. It's more than the application of the formula. Sometimes it really can be the environment. So what do I mean by that? If you are a gardener, or if you know anyone who's ever gardened, whether it's flowers or vegetables or anything in between, if the seed begins to blossom and it sprouts a little bit and it's struggling and it's not doing very well, we don't generally blame the seed. Usually we blame the environment. What kind of fertilizer are you putting on it? Are you putting any fertilizer? Are you overwatering? Are you underwatering? Is the dirt old and lacking nutrients? Did you put it in the sun and it needs to be in the shade? So many things can affect our results when we're trying to grow. So it applies to us as well. Sometimes we can do absolutely everything right, but if you are stuck in a horribly stressful, negative, demanding job, you're not going to be able to grow very well. What if you have someone in your life, a family member that you can't really get away from? I know some that are caregivers to their parents, and their parents are very negative, and they're very hard on their children. Oh, if you eat this way, you're going to kill yourself and you're going to give yourself heart disease. And you know what I'm talking about. If you're inundated with that all the time, sound is creation. If someone else is saying it to you and it's always falling and washing over you, that will have an effect. If you are barely sleeping because of stress, because of hormonal imbalances, because of so many other things, that too will have an effect on your journey and on your healing. So sometimes it's not all about the food. There's so many pillars in this analogy, and we have to focus on each and every one of them. Sometimes you only need to give a little bit of attention to it and it grows big and beautiful and strong and vibrant, and it's done. And then there's other ones that we have to really nurture and give a lot of time and attention to before they can grow big and strong, before we learn enough about ourselves and what we specifically need to be able to grow this other aspect so that it too can support us and bring us health. So sometimes it's our environment alone that makes a big difference. So now I'm going to reiterate, I guess, my journey of why I went back to Dr. Boz, and then throw in a little caveat too. So why did I go back to Dr. Boz? I went back to Dr. Boz because that's where I started. And when I started with Dr. Berg, lots of veggies. I tried going back to some veggies, that didn't work. So the next closest thing really is Dr. Boz. I went back to that because basically my experiment failed. My N=1 experiment did not have a positive outcome. I wouldn't necessarily say that it failed, but I got my result and it wasn't the one that I wanted. So what do? You go back. You go back to what was working before. Now, when I first started Dr. Boz and I rewatched all of her stuff and I binged on everything, I did exactly what she suggested in the way that she suggested. Because, and I remember saying this on one of my lives, she's an internist. I'm going to trust her judgment. I'm going to trust what she's saying. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for me. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. But we have to start somewhere. So I did. I did exactly what she suggested. Whether it was the protein or the amount of fat, or I read the books and those were the things that stood out to me, so I applied them in the way I wanted to apply them. Believe it or not, I haven't been on this journey back to basics for very long, and I've already changed it. Why? Because it was time. It wasn't working anymore the way I was hoping it would, so I had to make some changes and some tweaks. Am I still doing Dr. Boz technically? Probably. Do I still check my numbers every day? Nope. Do I drink ketones? Nope. Only if I have a headache or severe pain. I'm hurting from my trip. I haven't had any ketones today. I woke up this morning and my ketones and my glucose were this. While I was on my trip, I didn't take my Keto Mojo with me. I didn't test it all. I ate what I wanted to eat. I didn't take a scale. I didn't put a single thing into my app. Nothing. Because sometimes there's things that are more important than the macros. For me, I needed to put my energy into trying to explain, don't put this on my food. And then walking over to Walgreens to get the activated charcoal capsules to remove the toxins from my body that I just ingested. And spending time with the people. Because I've reached a point in my journey where I don't need to obsess about it. And obsession is never a good thing. We don't really want to obsess about anything. I didn't want to spend my time there. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking anyone who does do that. I know that Wendy from Loving It on Keto, she checked her numbers and Harry checked his numbers, and she showed it while she was at the summit. And that is fantastic. I'm not Wendy, and she's not me, and we don't tell each other what to do. So that, I think, is really the hidden key that most people need to unlock to find their formula for success. Because that's what this is really all about. And that's one of the things that they really talked about a lot over at the PhD Summit was you got to find what works for you. Nisha gave a huge presentation about N=1 experiments. You try to find out what works for you. What does your body agree with? What does it not agree with? Dr. Berry, of course, talked about all of the things that he always talks about. Reiterating again and again. And Nurse Cindy gave a fantastic scientific presentation, which I honestly wish I could have seen the whole thing, but they had to cut short because of time a little bit. So Nurse Cindy was fantastic. And then Kim also gives her perspective on it. And a lot of it has to do with the mindset, letting go, finding what's going to work for you, not trying to force your body to do what you think it should, but giving it a break, giving it grace. The birds are ridiculous. I hope that they're not too loud for you. So how does this work with my title, with the thumbnail? One of the things that Dr. Berry was saying at the summit, and one of the questions, he was like, "Oh no, it'll work. It always worked for." Well, maybe not. Maybe there's like 5% that it doesn't work for. Maybe like 3%. Hi, I'm that 3%. I have not found my formula yet for success. I'm getting closer, and I get closer, and I get closer with every experiment. Every N=1 experiment that I do gets me that much closer. And because I feel better, I want to keep going. For some people, you get worse before you get better. And for some people, you just get worse. And you have to decide what's actually your formula. Is this a piece of your formula? Is this even one of the ingredients in your formula? Or is it not? So deciding that for yourself is what's really important. Because only you can make that determination. And keep trying all these things. And it works or it doesn't work, and or it kind of works, but not in the way that they said it was going to work. You get down to the point where you're the 3%. I'm the 3%. I tried to start taking the supplements to start healing my body. And I had to stop. Because I started having such a severe detox reaction that my body couldn't handle it. I was breaking out in hives on my arm underneath. I'll put this over here. There was all kinds of things that were starting to crop up. The one picture I didn't get was on my shin. The chickens are running through the leaves. On my shin, I had more hives, kind of like on my arm, on my shin as well. And every night I would wake up and I couldn't breathe because my nose was so stuffy and my eyes were just like running, literally just a constant flow down my face. Same thing with my nose. I couldn't sleep. I ended up having to take Zyrtec every single night. It was horrendous and not sustainable. So I had to stop. I am the 3% that doesn't work for. And this wasn't even the detox phase. This was the support phase. But I am so sensitive to so many plants and so many herbs that these natural remedies with plants and herbs in them, I can't handle it. Or maybe it's a vitamin. I don't know. There's something in almost all of them that I can't handle. So now I have to stop, and I have to revamp, and I have to reassess what I'm going to do. I am the 3% that it just doesn't work for. And I want you guys to keep that in mind whenever you watch what I say and what I'm doing. Are you the 3%? Are you as sensitive as I am that within 10 minutes of eating the food at the restaurant, I start to break out on my face and my heart starts beating really fast and it starts skipping beats, it goes all wonky. I start getting dizzy because, my heart rate is crazy. That was after 10 minutes of my first few bites when they cooked in my own butter. And I think that they put some seasoning on it even after I was like, no. But they put something on it, and within 10 minutes, I had a reaction. Are you that sensitive? Do you have the same conditions that I have? Because if you do, then you have a better chance of getting the same reaction to my protocol than most other people. Remember back, I did a series, and it's called The 3 Realms of Keto. And in this, I talk about a color wheel. And on this color wheel, there's millions of pixels. And you can't tell. But if you were to zoom in, you'd be able to see the different colors. That even the pixels that are side by side, they're not identical. They're just a little bit different. And you've got some that are over in the carnivore and ketovore and just plain keto. You've got high fat, low fat, high protein, low protein. We all fit onto the spectrum somewhere, and no two of us are identical. So it's up to you to figure out your formula and to decide what's going to work for you based on the experiments that you do for yourself. Because me and the doctors and all the other health coaches, we can make suggestions to you all day long. But until you try it and see how your body reacts, we don't know what's going to happen. Never in a million years would anyone have thought that I couldn't handle the support supplements. But I am the 3%. So there is no formula for success that can be patented and marketed and handed out. Just do this and it will work. Weight Watchers would seem to have that in hand, but it doesn't last. It's got to be sustainable. So what am I doing now? Because I'm not doing the same thing that I was doing when I started this. I found that my 70 grams of protein wasn't enough. I began to want more. I always kind of felt like I knew I was going to need more. And this is why I always said the goal is to eat as much as you can and still stay in ketosis. And as we heal, we're going to go up. I don't recommend that anyone stays low on their protein. So guess what? I'm up to 100 grams of protein a day. I eat 3 times a day because I can't eat 100 grams of protein in one sitting and still be in ketosis. And to me, making sure that I get enough protein in is more important than eating in a tiny little window. My numbers are still good. They're good enough for me. I never try to get into the super low ketosis ranges because I don't even think I need that. I think that there's a reason that Dr. Boz says work with your healthcare professional if you're going to be in these ranges. I think there's a reason. I don't even strive for those. I usually stick between 20 and 30. And it happens naturally, and my body is happy there. That's because I have found what's working pretty well right now. So for anybody who still thinks that I'm eating 40 grams of protein a day and I drink exogenous ketones every single day and I am a hardcore Dr. Boz follower, I'm sorry, but you're mistaken. I'm an amnivore. I do what works for me because no one person's formula has worked for me. Dr. Berry's formula did not work for me. Dr. Boz's formula did not work for me. Many, many, many other formulas did not work for me. But I didn't give up. I adapt them and I find which ingredients are going to work for me. And I apply them to make my own formula that does work for me. So that's what I want to encourage you guys to do. Whether you're a 3%er or a 98%er, find what's going to work for you. Find your own individual ingredients and then apply them in a way that is appropriate for you at this time. And understand that as we age and as our environment changes and as the seasons change and as life throws new things at us, your formula is going to have to change. We need to be able to be adaptive. And that is really the key to success in all of this. You notice Dr. Berry calls it the proper human diet. I think that that is a very appropriate term. What's proper for you might not be what's proper for me, but that's okay. That's the goal, to find out what is proper for you and do it for yourself. Anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the summit. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it. I did get poisoned, but I'm okay. The activated charcoal helped immensely. So I hope that that kind of gives you guys a little bit of perspective for how to look at this. That nobody can give you your answer. You got to sleuth it out for yourself and put forth the effort because you're worth it. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you on the way. Had a lot of fun. So, okay, let's try that again. And sorry, that's a duck. I want to go and enjoy the experience. And they were shocked. Why are you shocked that I think I need to go water the ducks. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. So everybody, oh, that's a wasp. That's fun. He is now crawling on my phone. Oh dear. Buddy, you don't look so good. I should take a picture of this because really? And then I'll pop it up for you guys to see, maybe. Okay. So this is, I'm trying to record. So much funness. Oh my cow. Anyways. I don't think you're doing very well, are you? He's not doing very well. I think he's dying. The thing about your own personal formula. So I hope, oh, the sun is getting bad. Anything else? I'm trying to think. The sun is moving. Did you know it's very frustrating because the sun moves. So I can be sitting and it's fine. And then the sun moves. It's rude.